You're staring at your laptop screen right now, aren't you? The assignment is open. The deadline is in 3 days. And yet your brain is literally anywhere else. You've opened 17 browser tabs, checked your phone 4 times in the last minute, reorganized your desk, made coffee you didn't need, anything except actually doing the thing. And you're sitting there thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just focus like a normal person? But here's the actual tea. Nothing is wrong with you. Your brain isn't broken. It's actually doing exactly what it's designed to do. The problem is that you're trying to focus in an environment that your brain literally cannot focus in. No cap. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your head right now. Your brain has this thing called the prefrontal cortex. It's basically your focus headquarters. It's the part that goes, okay, we're doing calculus homework now, and actually sticks to it. But here's the plot twist. Your prefrontal cortex runs on glucose and willpower. And both of those things are finite. They run out. And when they run out, your brain gets desperate. So when you're stressed, tired, hungry, or haven't slept properly, your prefrontal cortex is like barely hanging on. It's running on fumes. And in that state, anything that offers dopamine, literally anything, becomes 1,000 times more tempting. That's why opening TikTok suddenly feels like the most important thing you've ever done in your entire life. Neuroscientist Daniel Goleman calls this attention residue. Basically, when you switch tasks, your attention doesn't actually switch with you. A piece of your attention stays stuck on whatever you were just doing. So if you just checked your phone, part of your brain is still thinking about that text message. If you just scrolled, part of your brain is still waiting for the next dopamine hit. Your focus is literally fractured. You're not actually present when you sit down to work. And it gets worse. Because now you feel guilty about not focusing. So you get stressed. And when you get stressed, your amygdala, the part of your brain that handles emotions and threat detection, goes into overdrive. Your brain thinks you're in danger. So it pulls even more resources away from your prefrontal cortex and sends them to survival mode, which makes it even harder to focus, which makes you more stressed. It's a whole cycle. And it's not about willpower or discipline. It's literally neurobiology. But okay, here's where it gets good. Because understanding this changes everything. The problem was never you. The problem is that you're trying to focus under conditions that make focus neurologically impossible. So instead of beating yourself up, you actually have to redesign your environment and your approach. Here's what actually works. First, before you even sit down to work, you need to fix your dopamine baseline. That means no phone, no social media. Nothing that gives you a quick hit of dopamine for at least 30 minutes before you start. I know. But here's why. When you're coming off a dopamine binge, your baseline is elevated. So normal work feels boring. Your brain is basically saying this doesn't feel as good as TikTok, so it's not worth doing. You need to let your baseline reset so that actual work feels stimulating again. Second, you need to protect your attention residue. That means when you sit down to work, everything else needs to be physically out of reach. Your phone doesn't go on silent. It goes in another room. Not on your desk. Not on the other side of the room. Literally in another room. Your brain can't even see it as an option. This is not about willpower. This is about removing the temptation entirely. Willpower is a finite resource. Don't waste it fighting your own brain. Third, you need to understand your own focus window. Research by psychologist Roy Baumeister shows that most people can sustain genuine, deep focus for about 90 minutes maximum before they need a real break. Not a phone break, a real break. So work in 90-minute blocks, then take 10 to 15 minutes to actually reset. Walk around. Get water. Stretch. Let your brain actually recover. Fourth, you need to eat something. No, seriously. Your prefrontal cortex uses more glucose than any other part of your brain. If you're hungry, you literally cannot focus. This isn't a motivation problem. This is biology. Eat a real meal or at least a snack with protein and carbs before you try to focus on anything important. And fifth, and this one is huge, you need to understand that focus isn't about pushing harder. It's about removing friction. The easier you make it to start working, the less willpower you need. So don't set yourself up with, I'm going to study for 5 hours straight starting right now. That's setting yourself up to fail. Instead, set a tiny goal. I'm going to open this document and write the first paragraph. That's it. Your brain can do that. And once you start, momentum happens. Once you're actually working, continuing is way easier than starting. That's not laziness. That's neuroscience. Here's the thing though, and this is important. You're not going to be able to focus perfectly every single time. Sometimes your brain is just tired. Sometimes life is chaotic. Sometimes you're legitimately stressed and your nervous system is activated, and you literally can't focus no matter what you do. And that's okay. On those days, the goal isn't to force focus. The goal is to be gentle with yourself and maybe just do the minimum. Protect your mental health. Rest when you need to rest. But most of the time, when you can't focus, it's not because you're broken or lazy or undisciplined. It's because your brain is in an environment that makes focus impossible. The solution isn't to push harder. It's to set yourself up to actually succeed. So next time you're sitting there frustrated because you can't focus, remember, it's not your fault. It's just your brain doing what brains do. And once you understand that, you can actually fix it. Now go sit down, put your phone in another room, eat something, and actually get some work done. Your future self will thank you for it.